We are streaming. Hear me, Ashley? Ashley, we are streaming.
All right, thanks, thanks, Lawrence. Let me take roll and see if we have a quorum. I do not see one on the list, but I will check it now. CSAB members, please let me know if you are in attendance. Jeanette Butterworth.
She has an appointment.
Oh, she does have an appointment? Okay. Joel Ford. Bruce Friend.
Present.
Rita Hare. Lynn Kroger. Here. Hilda Parlay.
Present.
Alex Quigley.
Present.
Sherry Reeve. Cheryl Turner.
Here.
Heather Van Cannon. Was that you, Heather? I don't see her. And Stephen Walker. I don't think he will be here today. We need one more person for a quorum. Let me, oops, sorry about that.
I'm sure they're just about to log in, so.
Yeah.
Can we just get going with the ethics statement, mission statement? We can do all that, right? Because we're not voting on anything, no?
Yeah, that should be okay. Before we get started, I have an Alicia Wilhelm on here, and I just see you on here twice. So you might want to check that you're not logged in on a phone and a computer, because when you want to speak, it will cause feedback. And I'll chat you as well. All right, go ahead, Mr. Lee.
Great. All right. Hilda, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, I shall. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time, I'll read our mission statement and ethics statement. Charter Schools Advisory Board works to ensure the existence of high-quality charter schools in North Carolina. In our ethics statement, board members are reminded that it is our duty to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflicts as we handle the work of the advisory board. If you have any conflict, please let us know at this time.
This is Cheryl Turner. I will be recusing from Pathways.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
And I think when it comes to the interviews for renewals, Gate City, and basically any other NHA schools, recusal. Thanks.
All right. And if at any time during the meeting you become aware of an actual or apparent conflict, please bring the matter to my attention, and it will then be your duty to abstain from participating in the matter and voting on that. Okay, we can go ahead and start with Melanie giving an overview of our applications.
Yes, and we have a quorum now, so we are good to go.
All right, we're on time.
Okay, thank you, Chair Quigley, Mr. Kara. Good morning, Melanie Radley speaking. Welcome to day 2 of the Charter School Advisory Board meeting. We will hear from 3 first-round applicants today. Just as a quick point of reference, any of the statutory and regulatory references are available. This is a public meeting. North Carolina's commitment to open government, we can make any of the statutory and regulatory references available directly from the Office of Charter Schools upon request. And so we'll hear from The three schools we'll hear from today are Olivier Williams Academy, Pathways in Education North Carolina, and Jordan Lake Charter. For January, we'll hear from New Haven Global Academy, Oak Hill Charter, Dogwood Classical Academy, and Wayne STEAM Academy. And then the round 2 interviews are to be determined based upon action today. Okay. And let's go over today's interview process. What you see before you is our timeline. I will introduce schools. I'll do the OCS introduction for 5 minutes. The applicant board will then have 10 minutes to make their opening statement and introduction of their board. CSAB will then discuss for 25 minutes, followed by an applicant closing statement for 10 minutes, and then the full charter school board will deliberate. At the end of your interview process, there will be 3 options available. Your application will either advance to the state board for approval, advance to the second round interview, or your application will be denied. Just an FYI that there is a raise hand feature in your participant box. Otherwise, we ask that you do not speak out of turn. You may also utilize your chat feature. All time limits will be observed, and again, resumes and CVs have been reviewed. The board has all of your CV and your resume on file, so please limit your background information to maximize your introduction time. All right. So up first today we have Olivier Williams Academy. This will be led by Ms. Cheryl Turner. Now, Olivier Williams Academy is slated for their proposed facility in the 28677 zip code of Iredell County. And so what you see here are the schools within a 6-mile radius of the proposed site for Olivier Williams Academy. They are, as I indicated, in Iredell County. They will, their projected enrollment for year 1, grades K through 2, 300, year 2, K through 3, 400, year 3, K through 4, 500, year 4, K through 5, 600, and then year 5, K6 with 700 projected. They will not offer food service nor transportation. They are not using the weighted lottery. Again, they don't have an exact location, a facility. There is not an LEA impact on file. They are not a repeat applicant, and they are not using the assistance of an EMO or CMO. And their application was marked complete at the time of submission. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Turner. Well, let me stop, I'm sorry. I will then allow the applicant board their 10 minutes to make their introduction and opening statements. And then we'll turn it over to Ms. Turner.
Is the board chair for Olivier Williams available?
Yes, I'm Tamika Watson. I'm available.
Okay, you can do your opening statement at this time.
Okay, thank you for allowing us to come before the board today. I just want to say that I am the board chair. As you said, you have all of my credentials on file, so I would just like to let you know that as the board, I know our participants are rooted in a desire and for student success and high achievement.
Does your board want to make any other statements? You have 10 minutes.
I am Phyllis Donato, board member. Thank you for the opportunity.
I am Jamie Adams, the vice chair.
Elisa Wilhelm, the treasurer. I am Troy Feimster, a board member.
I'm Olivier Williams. Is it okay if I speak?
Yes, ma'am. Are you on the board?
Well, I'm the proposed leader for the school.
It's fine for you to speak. We would like for board people to do the presentation, however.
Okay.
Okay, well then, CSAB, let's put some questions out there. Do people have questions that they would like to propose to this board?
Yes, Madam Chair, this is Hilda Perlay. They mentioned in their application that they will serve at-risk or gifted students, and then later on in other places, they only focused on at-risk. So I would like to know which or both of these type students will they serve. And they mentioned that they will establish a curriculum after year one, and I would like to know why after year one. And the mission statement I found was rather broad, and would be good to have a bit more details about exactly what they intend to do or have their kids succeed in which areas. The vision seemingly implies that they will teach parents special skills to be able to lead locally and globally, as well as teach them academic literacy. And I found that was taking the focus away from students. And let's see, what else do I have here? And I looked at the survey and contact information. I didn't see where a parent or family member would give their information to get back in touch with them. And I would like to know more about their leadership skills that they will teach.
Thank you. So let's start with that.
Thank you.
Would someone like to address Ms. Parlay's questions?
This is Dr. Watson. Yes, I will start with addressing the gifted and exceptional children. We will definitely serve both. As far as or I think that was just a matter of semantics. As the curriculum being developed after year one, once we really identify the needs of our students upon enrollment in year one, we will of course make sure that we are addressing those needs. As far as a gifted curriculum being developed in year one, it's a matter of understanding the different demographics we will enroll and their needs. So I want to be clear that we definitely will be serving students our first year as their needs are presented. In reference to our parents and our vision, one of our goals is to make sure our students are financially literate and also leaders. And a lot of times young students really enjoy school and they look to their teachers as role models, but we first teachers. So wanted to make sure that as we see a trend of younger parents, we want to make sure that our parents are equipped to be those role models and those leaders, not only for their students that are enrolled in school, but also for themselves as they're a part of a contributing member of society. I think another question was posed about the mission. Global leaders successfully impacting tomorrow every day in every way could come across as a little vague, but when you really dissect it, what it's saying is that we are all in the 21st century and we know that our reach expands past our present community. So we want to be able to make sure our students are cultivated to really understand what is globally going on in the world and being participants in that. So that means good communicators, creative thinkers, expert and skilled in identifying problems in the world, and not only identifying them, but creating solutions. So that's in every day, in every way. So not just being good readers and good writers, but being able to apply those skills globally. I'm not sure if I touched on everything. It was quite a bit, but I feel like I touched everything.
Well, thank you very much. And the last one, I was looking at the survey and didn't see where there was any place for the families to be contacted. I was just wondering how you followed up with the survey.
Oh, the surveys that we, for interest in the school?
Right.
Oh, yes. If Ms. Adams could respond to that.
Yes, this is Jamie Adams. I was actually instrumental in conducting the survey, and that was partly my fault for not actually putting actual information on the actual survey itself about contact information, but I do have contact information for the families, as some of those families were families that attended Kitty College Early Learning Center, which I know was mentioned as part of our feedback from our application. And so we have had an opportunity to speak with our attorney about any proposed conflicts that could arise from that. And so I just wanted to kind of let you guys know that there wouldn't be any preferential treatment given to any past, present, or former students of Kitty College Early Learning Center.
Thank you, ladies.
This is Cheryl Turner. I have some questions. Let's see. I think the biggest thing that jumped out at me is that you anticipate that you will serve 60% low-income students, yet you're providing no transportation and no lunch. Can you talk to me about why that choice and why you think that will provide the support your students need?
Yes, this is Dr. Watson again. Just to be completely transparent, as we were preparing the application, our funding, we wanted to maximize our funding, and we reached out to some resources, and honestly, it was in a private charter school setting. And once we received the feedback that we initially received on the application, it became very apparent to us that, of course, that was non-negotiable. So although we were unable to resubmit our budget and resubmit our plans, we have revised our budget to include transportation by purchasing buses, allotting for additional staff members as far as bus drivers, as well as allotting for participation in the National School Lunch Program and School Breakfast Program.
Okay, some questions about the ed plan. Lots of information about Orton-Gillingham and the use of Orton-Gillingham as a reading program. But then it says that you're going to use Elevation for your primary strategies for ELA, but that's a program really designed for second language students. Why are you choosing that for your Gen Ed ELA strategies?
Yes, I think in part of the narrative, we were including everything that we would be including. So while Elevation definitely is used as a platform for housing and documented proficiency and, their testing and everything, there is the instructional strategies piece that will be used for building their speaking, reading, listening, and writing. And those strategies are also great for all students, which we anticipated will be used whole group, especially in our MTSS Tier 1 for core instruction.
All right, can you tell me how Spire and Orton-Gillingham are related?
it is a research-based program that's really shown to be effective with the EC population. So as far as development and use of this, what we did, we partnered with, of course, our incorporator, who is the reason why we began to look at opening the O.V. Williams Charter. So she really showed us data and supported the use of Orton Gilliam. She is on the line for very technical, specific questions because we're all anticipating being allowing training for the program. But as far as selection, it was based on previous effectiveness with EC students.
Yeah, my question isn't about the effectiveness of Orton Gillingham. My question is, it says you're going to use it in conjunction with Spire. Orton Gillingham's pretty comprehensive, so I'm trying to find out how Spire is going to be used in connection with it.
Is it possible that Ms. Williams might be?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hello, thank you for allowing me to speak. Spire is actually an Orton Gillingham-based program. So I have used that program with all of my students that I use a lot of times when in the school system. Those are some of the choices. I'm from CMS. I have taught for CMS for many years. And Orton Gillingham, Spire is an Orton Gillingham-based program, research-based program that I have used. So meaning, what I mean by Spire being an Orton Gillingham-based program, it has all the components that Orton Gillingham has to offer to students. So everything when it comes to teaching reading through the different modalities of visual learning, kinesthetic learning, visual, kinesthetic, tactile. So the Spire program includes all those components and is really teaching reading by doing. And it also has a lot of room for repetition of skills. And a lot of my EVOS data that is on my application, all the growth that I've done with my students over the years and using Spire as an Orton Gillingham-based program, even individually with students, have shown that my students have grown. Coming from CMS is one of the programs, and we know that CMS use a lot of research-based programming there, and Spire is one of the Orton Gillingham programs that they use. As an instructional coach, I have suggested those programs for principals, and they have purchased those programs and have also used them to teach reading in EC departments. So that's how Orton Gillingham and Spire are very related, because it's a Orton Gillingham based program.
Okay, let's see. There's a lot of talk in the application about reading and how you're going to teach reading. Math isn't given nearly as much airtime. So talk to me about how you're planning to teach math.
Well, can I continue to speak?
Yes, you can. Surely.
Okay. Well, I believe in everything before we teach. One of the things in part of the process of the application is assessing all students to see where they are in math and reading, and using those assessments to determine what the needs of the students are, so that we can pair them with the right programming that's needed. I do believe in individualized instruction, and that it's not a cookie cutter situation. So by meeting every student needs, doing the individualized assessments, progress monitoring, and those type of things are very important when we're looking at not only reading, but our math programming as well. And I know that we will be working in an area where we might probably expect more children that will need that extra support, whether they're EC or not. So we would look at even math programs that are stemmed from the same type of program, closely related to something through Spire or the school specialty program that offers those supports that will help students in the area of math as well.
Okay, I want to move on I saw Mr. Friend has some questions on budget. So Mr. Friend, if you'd like to go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Turner. Thank you for a lot of questions, but I want to dominate the time here. I guess it's not so much a question as it is a statement. If I go back to the level of interest, I'm still not clear on what the level of interest is here. They talked about surveying students who currently attend an early childhood education center, but we're not provided any raw numbers. We're just provided percentages. So, 80% of parents surveyed identified. Well, 80% of what? 105? There's no data that I can glean that shows what those percentages actually represent. The sample that we gave of the survey was just one sample. Again, no real volume of numbers to no level of interest. I have questions about the facility. It looks like you're looking at a facility to rent or lease that has 7,500 square feet. So for that first year, that's only 25 square foot per student. Seems rather small to me. And then what's the plan after that? Because if it's 75, is it the same facility that you're looking to put year 3, 4, and 5 students in? I mean, that would even cut that square footage in half. So questions around the facility in terms of its size and capacity to hold these numbers of students. And then related to that, again, the budget, I'm just drawn to some of the items around technology. My eyes tend to draw that way. I'm not understanding the very large expenses for things like whiteboards, $64,000 in the first year, and it increases even from there. Truth be told, interactive whiteboards are somewhat of an outdated technology to begin with. Actually, I would say not somewhat. I think they are an outdated technology. It seems to me that you can get a lot more for less if you just used very large interactive smart TVs and things like that. So, and all that is somewhat related to the facility as well. So maybe they could explain a little bit about start with the facility situation.
This is Jamie Adams. I will start addressing the issues with the survey and the market interest. And then if I could defer to Dr. Watson to talk about the actual facility. So I am the vice chair, as well as I am the owner of Kitty College Early Learning Center, which is an early learning center in Iredell County. It's actually located in close proximity to the area that we are seeking to serve. Part of our marketing plan is to market to local child care centers in the area. Since the survey was conducted and done at a time when we were starting to experience some of the effects of COVID-19, it kind of limited our ability to be able to get in front of people and actually conduct surveys. So what I ended up doing was using some of the actual parents that were coming to my facility, and I wasn't at full capacity. My capacity is 67. I distributed 30, because that was at the time, that's how many families I had coming into the center. I distributed 30 surveys. Of those 30, I only received about 20 responses. And so that's kind of, when I said the percentage, that's kind of where that was coming from. In terms of our facility and what we're looking at, we have been in talks with Russell from American Charter Development to talk about some opportunities to finance potentially a space for us, because we did recognize that the square footage that we're using is rather small. However, that's the square footage that is used in early childhood education, per child is 25 square feet. So that's kind of where that came from. But I will defer to Dr. Watson to talk more about the budgetary items.
Thank you. Just kind of going back about our facility options. Yes, we have been in touch with American Charter Development and looking to, of course, provide a facility that is spacious enough for our first year, and then, of course, looking to expand to larger students being in the middle school grades. And we know that 55 to about 75 square feet per student is what we're looking at. And we have options to build a facility, renovate, and lease one. As far as the budget, I do again apologize that the budget that you do have is an outdated one. But again, the feedback was very beneficial to us, and we did take heed to that. And the facilities budget has been updated to make sure that we can sustain year to year working with the company to build our facility, and then make sure we're able to pay our lease and expand in the next 5 years. Also, I do agree with the technology piece. Upon really vetting it some more, we did bring that down. I can tell you what we have just verbally for classroom technology. We brought that down from smart boards only being $3,000, and computers, we want to go 1-to-1 Chromebooks within year 2, and then we have a space for a computer lab in year 2 as well. So we brought those numbers down exponentially. If you would like, we could also provide you with our updated version if you need to review it. But as far as technology and smart board, yes, sir, we are right in line with your thinking, and we have changed that. Again, I'm trying to think if all the questions, I think those have all been addressed. Spec square feet, computer price, and the results of the survey, I think were all addressed.
Ms. Van Cannon? Ms. Van Cannon, would you like to ask your questions now? Is Heather still there? Okay, Ms. Hare, do you want to go ahead while I see what I did to Heather?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Turner. Dr. Watson, this is Rita Hare. I have a couple of questions about, mostly about your board. Just to make sure this is accurate, you do have 5 board members, including yourself?
Yes, that's correct.
Correct, okay. And they all did submit background checks, so thank you for those. I understand that 2 of them live in the county of the proposed school, but the other 3 do not. Is that correct as well?
That's correct as well.
Okay. And the school leader does not live in Iredell County?
No, we are, the school leader and myself, we're about, I would say about 20-30 minutes from Iredell County, so we're right outside of the county, but no, we do not reside in Iredell County.
I may have missed it, but was there an explanation as to why the proposed site is in Iredell County as opposed to where the majority of the board members are and your school leader resides?
One of our goals for starting the charter school was simply because we want to make sure that we are addressing the ever-changing and growing needs of students. And what we found is that in Charlotte-Mecklenburg, there are a large number of existing charter schools. while the options are few in Iredell County. So we really believe in our ability to affect positive academic success. So we look to see where the greatest need would be, and this location in Iredell County was very favorable to all of us in what we were seeking to accomplish and who we were seeking to serve.
Mhm. Okay, in your application, it states that the lead administrator of the school will earn $115,000 a year. And in the budget, it shows 90,000. I heard you say something about our budget is outdated that we have. Was that correct, that the actual budget we're reviewing today is not your current budget?
That is correct. Right now, we do have our, the feedback was recommended that we lower the starting salary of the lead administrators so that we could increase salaries for staff, as well as make sure that we eliminate disparities among salaries. So we have brought her down to $68,125 for year one, and with a slight increase to $70,000 in year two.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm assuming that changes a lot of other items in the budget. I think it's going to be hard to approve a budget that is not at least the actual current as of today with significant changes like that. Has that been submitted, the revised budget?
No, we were told that we couldn't really send changes, but we do have it available if you like it now.
That would probably be the decision of the office staff and the board. I don't know that we could accept anything now as a submission. Let me ask one or two other questions and I'll let someone else step in. You have no transportation budgeted until year 5. I just wondered what were you anticipating the first 4 years, and why was year 5 that magic year?
Yes, so again, we did provide transportation once we received the feedback. We did some numbers, and again, I'm so sorry. I apologize for this not being current. But year 5 initially was just based on our funding and our number of students. But as far as current budget, yes, we do know that transportation is important, so it is being provided in year 1 and beyond.
Okay, well, this question is probably irrelevant too, but let me ask one more question about the budget and I'll stop. You have a large market increase from year 3 to 4 and from year 4 to 5. And I just wondered, do you still have that in the budget? And why was that anticipated as being a need?
I think the thought, it has changed, yes. I think the initial thought was because we were a new school, because we were limited by COVID and its ability and our ability to really get out there and market it initially before the application went in, we felt like we would have to boost it up more so. And then also because we were seeking to bring in new students each year. But again, that has changed. We lowered it to 5,300. We spoke with a company called Narrowway Marketing, and we've got some hard numbers and different things that they could do without actually, I guess, exposing us all to risk. But we were able to look at some social media marketing events, of course, standard things such as website and flyers, but we did lower that expense from those numbers. So it's like 5,300 year 1. It boosts up a little bit in year 2, and then the following years are like 5,000, 2,000, 1,500. So no more than of those large numbers.
Mm-hmm. Well, it does sound you're making some good adjustments to the budget and some mission-driven type adjustments, but it does sound like it's still in the development stages. Thank you. I'll let someone else pose questions. Thank you.
May I ask, this is Mr. Friend. I'm just out of curiosity, and I apologize if
Go ahead.
Why all these changes to the budget? Like, why wasn't, like, I commend you for recognizing that the original budget as part of the application probably had some massaging to do. a lot of it. But why wasn't this done prior to submitting? What was, I'm just left curious about that, because I mean, the budget you submit as part of the application is the budget that's your application. Like, why all these changes?
Right, I understand. And I would just have to be again transparent and say that we were reaching out for support and just reaching out to some resources that we had, and it appears that we were not working with a public charter school. We were looking at a private charter school with some, I guess, different perspectives. And it wasn't really until we received the feedback that we were able to pull back the layers that revealed and highlighted some insufficiencies or discrepancies in our budget. So it is unfortunate that we did not have the correct numbers presented when we did send an application. But of course, we jumped right on it with the feedback. And I think that if you will review the budget at your earliest convenience, that you will be pleased with how we have redone the budget.
I just want to interject. We're at time, so I just want to keep things clear here and make sure that we're consistent on timing.
Yeah, okay, so at this point, the board has, I think, is it 5 minutes or 10 minutes for closing statement?
10 minutes.
Okay, at this point, you have 10 minutes for your closing statement.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. So just to let you know, our idea of Olivier Williams Academy is founded on the pillars of developing student leaders, developing teacher leaders, creating a pandemic-proof school, and teaching for financial literacy. We plan to do all these things by devoting and developing student leaders. We're going to do this through, and our teachers as well, through connection with Paradigm 360, reaching out to UNC Charlotte to provide us a collaboration between beginning teachers and Olivier Williams Academy. We will create a school that will operate successfully when unprecedented times such as a pandemic occurs, and we will focus on breaking down the complex financial concepts and strategies to simplify them so that students, teachers, and parents will have the tools needed to properly manage their money. Through our presentation, we hope that our passion for cultivating and sustaining independent creative thinkers has been the aspect to shine through. I know there were some components of the application and the process that were not ideal and might need some additional fine tuning, but we hope that the passion for what we are really trying to do will be present as you collaborate. But just know that our passion will perpetuate a drive towards success in our board, but also in our staff and ultimately our students. We were previously asked what makes Olivier Williams unique, Olivier Williams Academy unique, and although there could be several responses to this, the most genuine answer that I could give you will be that the idea that Olivier Williams Academy originated from the sole desire to change the status quo for students' academic trajectory. And because that heartbeat of Olivier Williams Academy is rooted in care and concern, it will be found in all of our board members and will be heard and felt by all of our stakeholders. So thank you so much for your time and consideration. And if you desire to review the new budget, please, we will definitely send it to you ASAP. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is time now for us to discuss. I'm going to start by saying that we have allowed people to make some changes once they get to ready to open. However, the changes that would be required here it's a total change of the application. There are so many things in this application that they modified after they got the feedback from the evaluators that the document that we currently have does not reflect who this school would be, and consequently could not be used as the contract or the charter. While I admire that they responded so well to the feedback and have done additional research and have made some really good decisions since then, it's my personal opinion that they need to go back, rewrite an application and reapply next year. Floor is open to anybody else's opinions.
Well, Madam Chair, I feel the same way. Just needs to be sandpapered, if you will, so that it is clearly understood once the application is read. They have dotted all I's and crossed all T's. Thank you. Dr. Perlay.
This is Mr. Friend. I concur with you, what you said. And I think in addition to the budget, I think that we need more evidence. I feel I need more evidence of need. I realize COVID has made it difficult for all applicants this cycle, but other applicants were able to bring forth much stronger numbers to validate the need for the school. And so we heard was a desire to open a school for 300 students, and they got feedback from 20. That's not enough. So I would encourage them to really focus on that as well.
This is Heather Van Cannon. I'm sorry, I had to step away earlier, but I had mentioned something in my comments about remote learning, especially for the targeted population. I have concerns about that being daily once we are able to go back face to face with our students. I just feel like we have been able to realize during this pandemic that that is difficult to make sure that we are effective in remote learning. Anyway, so there's that. And then the math component is not highlighted throughout the narrative. I think, Cheryl, you brought that up. And so I just feel like there's some loose ends that need to really be wrapped up and supported both in the budget and within throughout the narrative. So I will not be supporting this application.
Any other comments?
Madam Chair, this is Rita Hare, and I concur with your assessment that you started with. There have been so many and probably positive changes we'd like to see to provide the necessary resources, but there have been so many adjustments that it appears that the application itself is somewhat invalidated because all the narrative that we were basing our decisions on will be adjusted or changed, revised because of now the funding is all switched around. I mean, I don't know how we could, as much as we would want to, I don't know how we could approve this without a fresh application with the new accurate budget. So I don't think I won't be moving this forward. Thank you.
Would somebody like to make a motion?
This is Lynn Croker. I make the motion not to move this application forward.
And this is Mr. Friend. I'll second that.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Madam Chair, we would want to encourage them to return and to do the proper development and thoroughly examine all these components before they come back. But we'd like to see the needs met in this part of Iredell County. Thank you.
Sorry, I was muted. It's been properly moved and seconded. Ms. Becerra, could you please call the roll?
Yes. All right. Joel Ford,
Aye.
Bruce Friend,
Aye.
Rita Hare,
Aye.
Lynn Kroger,
Aye.
Hilda Parlay,
Aye.
Alex Cookie,
Aye.
Sherry Reeves,
Aye.
Cheryl Turner,
Aye.
Heather Van Cannon.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We hope that you will reapply. We feel like you've made some you've made some progress since you did this application. If the new application reflects that, I think that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To the next application?
You are coming in really low, Melanie. Chair Quigley, would you like to take a brief break before the next application or right in?
I mean, I'm good. Where are we on time? Let's see. We're ahead. So let's take a 10-minute break. Let's reconvene to start this application at 10:05.
Okay. All right. We'll see everyone at 10:05.
Sound check. Ms. Vaquero, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but you're definitely low, and I have my volume pretty high.
Okay. Okay. Is that any better now?
Yeah,
It's better? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
It must be that new computer we gave you.
It must be. I think the loaner was acting better. Joseph, can you hear me any better? How do I sound right now? I'm at 100%.
Melanie, this is Claire. I can hear you loud and clear.
I can too.
Okay, Joseph just said he could not hear me very well. So I wanted to check on his end.
So on my end, I couldn't hear you when I was listening without plugging my earbuds into the audio jack on the side of my computer. Now that I've got that, I can hear you just fine.
Hey, Melanie, this is Shonda. You're clearer than you were earlier. I couldn't hear you as well earlier, so I don't know what you did to adjust.
Same here, Melanie. I could hear you better than before, but still relatively low.
Still low, even now?
Now it's fine on my end.
I'm sorry, Joseph, come again?
All right, Melanie, we got about 2 minutes. We're going to reconvene.
Okay, sounds good.
Board members, we got about 2 minutes.
Okay, Chair Quigley, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're much clearer now.
Okay. I have 10:05.
Yep, let's go ahead.
Our next applicant second applicant of the morning is Pathways in Education, North Carolina. Okay. And what you see here is Mecklenburg County and the 6-mile radius of schools within the 6-mile radius. Now, because Pathways has proposed to serve the secondary 9 through 12 population in Charlotte's West Corridor, the map shows middle and high schools in the 28214 zip code, used for proximity to Western Mecklenburg, most public high school, West Mecklenburg Public High School, which is the applicant suggested targeted area. And these schools are reflective again of the middle and high school within 6 miles from their proposed location. Okay, and on the next slide, okay, so Mecklenburg County, year 1, grades 9 through 12, 300 enrollment projected. Year 2, 9 through 12, 600, and then years 3 through 5, grades 9 through 12 with 600 enrollment projected. It looks like at capacity, they will reach 9 through 12 students at 700 in subsequent years, I believe year 6. Pathways in Education North Carolina does not propose to offer a lunch plan. They do propose to offer a snack and a nutrition plan. Transportation is no. They will not use a weighted lottery. At this time, they do not have a slated facility. There is not an LEA impact on file. They are not a repeat applicant. Pathways in Education North Carolina falls under the Pathways Management Group EMO, and at the time of submission, their application was complete. So we're going to now allow for the board to provide their opening statement and a brief bio from each member. CSAB has also asked and wants to gauge the board's understanding of Pathway Management Group current financial intervention status as it relates to their Arizona operations. Further, we also want to gauge the understanding of the legal judgment, California Department of Education versus Hawkeye Properties. It looks like California Department of Education was awarded a $6.5 million settlement, of which Pathways Management Group is liable for $2.9 million. So we want to allow the board to provide their opening statement, a brief bio, but also to determine who's going to speak to the board's understanding of the financial intervention status and the legal judgment and the financial repay of the $2.9 million. So I will turn this over to Pathways Board that's here today, and you can begin your opening statement.
Hello, my name is James Wilkes, serve as the board's chair. I will lend the floor to Alvin Wallace, who will do our opening statement.
I think you might be muted.
Mr. Wallace, will you please unmute?
Hi, can you hear me now?
We can.
I'm sorry, I had dialed it on my phone. I was speaking from my phone. Okay, good morning again. My name is Alvin Wallace. I'm with Pathways in Education in North Carolina. We, the Board of Directors of Pathways in Education, are here simply because we want to have impact on those underserved youth in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg County area. Through Pathways in Education, and you may hear us refer to it as PIE, our mission is to engage students who may have not been successful in previous school environments, whether it's due to behavior, over age status, parenting, or other personal factors that may have impacted their success. We want to show them how successful they can really be by building a strong relationship and meeting them just where they are. We realize that each student's situation is different. We want to make sure that we're reaching each individual student based on exactly where they are. Over the past 18 years, Pathways in Education schools have shown the tenacity, resilience, and commitment to opportunity youth across 11 campuses in 5 states, all in the midst of many challenges, most recently by offering a comprehensive virtual learning program during this COVID-19 pandemic season. We're committed to this work and to improving our students' outcome, student experience, and instruction by bringing this educational model to the Charlotte-Mecklenburg County area so that we can meet the needs of those disengaged and underserved youth in the community. We don't want to replace anything Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools is doing. We want to strategically partner with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools to give the students a safe and supportive and effective educational environment, as well as to equip our students with the social, emotional skills, self-efficacy, and job readiness to prepare them for life after high school, be it pursuing college education, higher learning, or to enter the career field. Pathways in Education North Carolina seeks to establish itself as a true alternative education option for any student who needs additional support, attention, or resources to succeed regardless of their social and economic status. We'll empower these students by providing independent study support, a comprehensive virtual education platform with a post-secondary focus to help students to develop mastery and ownership over their own learning. Every aspect of our program will emphasize social, emotional awareness, and character education, which will guide our students towards being engaged, courteous, and productive members in the modern working world. You've had the opportunity to review our application, so we, the Board of Directors of PIE North Carolina, are here today to answer any additional questions you may have or to provide any additional information you may need. That being said, we'll turn it over to you for additional conversation and dialogue.
Does any other member of your board need to make introduction?
Board, if you could just introduce yourselves, please.
Good morning. My name is Tari Gibbs, and we're delighted to be here representing Pathways in Education and the entire board, which is grateful to be here. You have our resumes, our CVs, as you have previously mentioned, and I just want to take a moment to emphasize that while you have our professional experience and background in education, we deeply have ties to this area, and we're excited about the opportunity to start this charter school. Personally, I'm from a small town. I've been in Charlotte a number of years. I volunteer in the very communities in which we're trying to serve. I know firsthand the need for a program such as Pathways desiring to begin here. And my experience, my background with the targeted community, my passion for education, working with educational nonprofits such as Citizen Schools, the YMCA, and Upward Bound, lends itself to this board, and I'm really excited to be a part. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbs. Can you state your role on the board, please?
Apologies, board member.
Good morning. My name is Patrice McLean, and I too am a Charlotte, well, Tara was not a Charlotte native, but I am a Charlotte native, and I live and serve in the community that we are really reaching out to, and I serve as a board member of the YMCA, local YMCA McCrory, which is right here in this area. So, and I have served Charlotte Mecklenburg schools for 20 years in different capacities, primarily now as career development coordinator. And I am a board member.
Good morning. My name is Kathleen Hodgson-Thompson. I'm a board member. I have lived in Charlotte, North Carolina since 1986, and I bring over 25 years of marketing and communications experience to the table. I've been actively engaged as a volunteer and at one of the largest predominantly African American churches in the Charlotte community in the West Charlotte corridor. And as I've engaged with parents and youth in the heart of the West Corridor, who are seeking ways to find ways to deal with life's challenges, I'm looking forward to the opportunity to leverage pathways in education as an option, a solution to those challenges they may be encountering.
Thank you. Have we heard from all members?
I will go back.
Yeah,
James Wilkes is my name. I am the board chair. Growing up in from that area, I have seen just firsthand the disparities of education with our children, and so I look forward to serving on this board and trying to make a difference with our children in that particular community.
And a bit more about me and my background. I am born and raised in Charlotte. I have had the opportunity to matriculate through the Charlotte Mecklenburg school system, and I've also had the opportunity to volunteer on a couple of youth organizations within the city where we also worked with underserved or underprivileged youth. So I've had the opportunity to actually see the impact that a school such as Pike could have on that subset of students. So being able to leverage our expertise and the expertise of those that we may hire could be a big benefit in reaching out to that population we're trying to serve. And that's all the board that we have present today.
Thank you very much for that. And again, I want to reiterate my question. So the CSAB wants to gauge your board's understanding of Pathway Management's group and the Pathways in Education Arizona, their current financial intervention status in the state of Arizona. They also want to gauge your understanding of the liability of $2.9 million that Pathways Management Group has in relation to a legal judgment that was awarded to the California Department of Education. So determine who's going to speak to those two questions, please.
Good morning again. My name is Tara Gibbs, board member again. So in regards to the Pathways in Education Management issue in Arizona, the board is fully aware. We understand how that may appear at first glance, but when you take into account the net adjusted income and least adjusted debt ratio, those are two areas where Pathways Education is deficient. And this was due to low enrollment and low ADM collection. So in response, Pathways in Education created an action plan to address those issues, and they're now on track with those metrics.
Okay, Ms. Reeves, are you ready to take the lead on this?
I'm good, Melanie.
I mean, is that the full scope of the conversation around the management company? Melanie, is there any additional due diligence on this management company? Because this is a new management company in North Carolina.
Yes, it is a new management company in North Carolina, and so we wanted to allow them to speak to the performances, financial, operational, or academic otherwise, from the states in which they currently operate. Additional information, is on file and publicly available in terms of their academic and operational performances. And so I believe that Ms. Reeves does have that. So if you have additional line of questioning for them, we can proceed to that. It is noted that for fiscal year 20, the state of Arizona indicates that their status, the financial status as it relates to their performances in fiscal year 20, is to be released in the upcoming week. So we do not have their status as it relates to the financial intervention final results, but it's noted that it's looking as though they're likely to be on the financial intervention status again for fiscal year 20, and those results will be released in the upcoming week.
Good morning, Chairman and board members. This is Nicholas Perez. I'm the representative for the application, and I do have some information on Pathways in Education Arizona that I can speak directly to because I'm the current school leader overseeing that state.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I began with Pathways in Education Arizona at the beginning of this school year due to those two key pieces that needed improvement. Under the leadership of myself and our newly appointed principal down in the Arizona school site, we have increased enrollment. Our current enrollment is at 155 students. And our current ADM for student attendance has significantly increased above 85%. I believe the last state checkpoint, which was on December 4th, we were at 91%. So with these increases in enrollment and increase in ADM and student performance, our projections show that we should be able to meet the goals that the state of Arizona has set for us for those categories, and we should be removed from that status and continue to work with the students in a successful way down there.
And how old are the schools in Arizona? How many years in operation?
I believe they are 3 years. They've been operating for 3 years.
And when those schools opened, what were their projected enrollments?
I believe the projected enrollments were around 200 students. Increasing over years, so I think finishing at the end of each school year at a 200 level student count.
Mr. Perez, can you speak to the data that's available about school performance for the various pathways in education? I did a quick search on the web, and the school in Chicago, for example, the reading proficiency is less than 5%, and the math wasn't much better. Can you speak to that?
Yes. So again, I was the school principal for the Chicago schools back in 2018 through 2020. So I was brought into the Chicago school sites to again assist in reestablishing the Pathways vision and what the schools should look like and operate as to help successfully guide the students to their post-secondary goals, whether it be four-year or city college or workforce programs. So in that time, CPS has a ranking for their charter and contract schools in their and how their performance is overall. All of the three school sites, and in the year that I came in, we were up for recontract as well. And so we had a little bit of time to kind of improve our school's metrics. And so in the 2 years that I had spent, the first year on their scale, I think the lowest rating school of our contract and charter is a level 3. Then it goes 2+, 2, 1, 1+ school. And so I think all three campuses were rated a level 2+, and they did have some areas of concern and improvement. So within that year, I was able to move two of the schools to a level 2. I'm sorry, they were all a level 2. I'm getting the categories confused now. We moved them from a level 2 to a level 2+. So within the range that they're looking for meeting standards. And then I was able to take one of the schools to move it to a level 1, which is slightly exceeding the standards they're looking for. And obviously, when I left there, we're continuing to move that needle into the level 1 and the level 1+. Identifying those key areas because they do use the Ren Star assessment as their benchmark for reading skills growth. And that also is an internal tool that we use to drive our curriculum choices and making sure that we're providing the appropriate, meeting the students where they're at. So, we've moved from reading the SGP or the scaled growth percentile to something that's more impactful to students. Ren Star results will give the students reading level and math level. Being an at-risk program, we're taking a lot of students in that they're far below their actual, supposed levels where they should be at. So it is a useful tool for us to identify their actual on-scale grade reading level, so we can have that active conversation with students. And sometimes that uses, it allows the students to be personally motivated to grow and say, hey, you know what, I don't agree with this. I'm not a third grade reading level. I think I just rushed that. And so we use these opportunities, again, like I said, to use that important data to compare our students. It is a nationally, a national benchmark assessment. We use it 3 times a year, again, to kind of inform us of where our students are performing and how we can provide support to those students. And I don't know if I hope I provided enough information for the Chicago schools. In that contract year, again, we were recontracted for 5 years. And because we made such great gains, we picked up a 4th campus location because of our relationship with CPS. And like I said, we're doing the same things down in Arizona. And if we are fortunate enough today, we look to support students in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area as well.
So how many states does P&G have schools in? And they're not all considered pathways in education. I think there's another name, Options for Youth or something to that effect. Is that correct?
Pathways in Education has schools in Arizona, Idaho, Louisiana, Tennessee, and Illinois. And so those are the 5 states that we do have schools in. There are schools in California, but they are not pathways in education. There is opportunities for learning and options for youth.
And that's just another, I guess, component of PMG, is that correct? Or just another partner with PMG?
I believe partner,
Okay. So Illinois, Tennessee,
not PMG managed though.
not PMG managed. Okay.
So similar school layout, I guess.
Yes, yes. So of the 5 states that are operating with PMG, how many of the schools are operating in the red? Are you aware? I mean, for example, are they relying on PMG for funding to keep them afloat? Like, for the example, in Arizona because of enrollment issues?
No, none.
None? Okay.
No, ma'am.
And in the opening statement by board members, and this may be a question for board members, you refer to the school as an alternative school, and immediately when I started reading the application, that was my take on it, yet you did not apply to be an alternative school. Can someone on the board speak to that, please?
Okay. This is Tara Gibbs again. So in regards to the alternative in our petition, but not necessarily applying to be an alternative, we have a targeted population that is predominantly those that are over age, undercredited, providing an alternative option. However, because PI's model stresses independent study and provides just alternative methods that many students, regardless if they're looking for alternative or labeling or not, would be interested in. So we wanted to make sure that we kept our options open for all students who may be interested in this unique model that could participate in the program.
I would like to open the floor to charter school board members for your questions to the PI board.
First of all, Madam Chair, I would like to ask Mr. Perez if he's still affiliated with Charter One in Arizona. You're muted.
Apologies. No, ma'am, I've never been associated with Charter One. That might be another Nicholas Perez.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
And then just to go back to the previous, all schools are operating under positive excess revenue. The only one that is receiving assistance is PI Arizona this year because of those circumstances. However, we forecast that we are in good standing at the end of the school year.
Because of the increase in your school enrollment, correct?
Enrollment and then also attendance of students and making sure that we are meeting those thresholds and beyond what we had projected or what we initially had stated.
Can I ask a question?
Okay, go ahead.
Or did you have another one, Hilda?
It can wait, go ahead.
You go. I didn't jump. You.
Well, when I saw that they are CMO, I looked at the management agreement and noticed that it mentioned on page 2, Article 2, term section 2.1, it mentions that the school would receive a charter from the North Carolina Office of Charter Schools, and that is incorrect. It should be the State Board of Education, and they would need to make that change. Thanks.
Duly noted. So my question is about just the enrollment. How did you arrive at the number of 300 and what type, like, how did you get that in as well as the projections of 600?
Okay, so this is Tara Gibbs again. Our enrollment numbers were based on looking at some of the trends at some of the surrounding schools, other comparable schools here in North Carolina, but also looking at the terrific trends that we see at other pathways in education group schools. And Nick can tell you more about that end of it when it comes to the other schools in other states.
Tara, as a follow-up to that question, this is Rita Hare. Your application has the breakdown different from the budget. Although the numbers are the same, year one you have 300, but they're divided as 50 at 2 grade levels and 100 at the other 2 grade levels, and the application states something different. Which one is the actual plan today?
Okay, I'm taking notes. Could you refer me again to which two, the differences again?
Yes, your budget shows 100 ninth graders, 100 10th graders, and then 50 at 11 and 12, and it grows from there. However, in the application, it breaks down the grade levels at 75 students at each grade level.
Okay, that may have just been a mistake, but as of today, I believe the documentation that is pulled up on the shared screen now is the most recent.
So in looking at those numbers, in say year two, for instance, you have 200 10th graders, but in year three, you only have 100 moving to the 11th grade. And that happens also from 11 to 12, and it happens in subsequent years. Are you planning for 50% not to return, or what is the thinking in those numbers?
Oh, no, sure. Thank you for asking, because again, on paper, that can be a bit deceptive. So to further understand the Pathways in Education model, traditional grade levels are not assigned as it is in a traditional school. It's dependent on the number of units, and that includes like the coursework and the time that students put into the program. So when someone may come in, because we're having that constant conversation, continuous, ongoing with the school that they were previously in, so they may enter apparently under one grade level. However, upon completion of those units and a full assessment of that student, we realize that they have enough credits to be considered a different grade level, if that makes sense. So we're just trying to account, I'm sorry?
Yes, it does make sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. As well as your explanation about alternative methods. Those are all part of your unique factor, and that does make sense. I want to put one other thing out there, and I'll turn it back to other questioners, other board members. We did receive all of the resumes and response forms. In some cases, there were letters, but on your board members, we did not receive any background checks. And so I have 7 members, and we need to see those. If you could also arrange to submit those at some point.
Absolutely.
Dr. Hare, this is James Wilkes, board chair. All 7 of the board members have taken background checks. Fingerprints have already been submitted. It should have been a part of the application. If it was not, I will make sure that once this interview is completed, that information is sent to you in a timely manner.
That's great. And you did show the request for the checks, and you showed the receipts for the payment, but then there were no background checks provided. So thank you.
So one more component to the enrollment piece. A lot of our students sometimes do go back to their traditional home school. So they may come to us for some time to catch up on particular coursework, but then we would transfer them back if that is their wish and that's what they want to do with their education.
So this is Alex. I have a follow-up on that and then a related question. So if that's the case, what is the plan for how the financing will work? How will that work? And has your budget built in to lose county money and retain state money when students bounce back to their district school? And what if a student comes in the middle of the year and you won't be receiving state money? Does your budget account for that?
So this is James Wilkes again. Our budget was, of course, comes from our accounting team. And so I would say that all of that information has been taken into conversation and into their minds. I would like to defer that to Nick Perez, as he could probably better assist you with that particular question.
Well, before we do that, I'd like to know what was the board member's role in the creation of the budget? And I'd like a board member to be able to answer some questions about the budget. So, same question. Does the budget account from a revenue standpoint for what we just heard, which was students transferring back and forth to the district? Could a board member speak to that?
This is Tara again. So one thing we'd like to highlight in the budget process as we work with the management group to come up with this budget, we wanted to be sure to emphasize, for example, and it may have been confusing upon your review, that there's, for example, like the hiring process in that budget. For example, I know the assistant principal role was like 0.1667. That may appear as though we're going to have assistant principal from the beginning of the slated school year in July. However, as we understand the enrollment to fluctuate and change, instead of hiring initially for that assistant principal role, we'll going to hold back on some of that administrative that may not be as necessary with lower enrollment to make sure that our budget can account for the more essential roles early on. So the principal, for example, but not an assistant early on, and then those core certified teacher positions such as math, ELA, and that way the budget shifts that we're able to account for that kind of fluctuating enrollment. But enrollment again is continuous. It's a continuous enrollment, but we are trying to account. I'm sorry?
I appreciate what you're saying and having the flexibility on the expense side, but it's not answering the question.
Okay.
And looking at your budget, it doesn't account for it. You have 300 students with a I can't tell the projected surplus. Let's see. I mean, it's projecting
1.9 surplus.
That can't possibly be right. And
almost a $2 million surplus, but that's with Alex. In year one, they will be receiving a $2.6 million loan from PMG.
This to me does not meet the kind of criteria of a viable operation from an enrollment standpoint and a financing standpoint, relying on such a significant startup grant and then not having a cohesive plan for how to manage that into the long term. Moreover, the enrollment is not going to happen. Commonwealth, which is, this is an important solution that we need to try to bring to bear on the public school, on our public school students in the state of North Carolina and around the country. But students do fall behind and they need credit recovery and they need models that are different than the traditional large brick and mortar high school. But this is not going to work. Commonwealth, which has a pretty solid operation and reputation and is working in conjunction with the district, is struggling to meet 169 200 students. So there's no data to support this. And in fact, your organization has data to support that you haven't been able to meet the minimum enrollment targets that you need in Arizona. It sounds like Mr. Perez sounds like an outstanding leader who's done some turnaround work, but I just think I would impress upon the board that this application is not ready to move forward.
Mr. Ford, I believe you had some questions. Would you like to go ahead?
Thank you, Madam Chair. After Chairman Quigley, I don't know if I need to go. Part of my issues and concerns is your projected enrollment demographics. And so looking here, and this is a dovetail into Chairman Quigley's comments and questions, and I wanted to hear from a board member as it relates to your projected enrollment demographics. Economically disadvantaged students, 76%, 14% of those students with disabilities, and 13% of English language learners. We all know here in Charlotte-Mecklenburg, there is a tremendous need to serve what I would describe as those students in our community who are most in need and hardest to serve. Can a board member articulate what you would do differently to meet this need for these particular students?
This is Alvin Wallace. If I can add to the prior conversation there, since keep in mind that our program is a program where we'll have students transitioning in and out, so the population will fluctuate up and down as we have students matriculating in and out of the program. But based on the history has shown through the other schools that we are able to sustain the targeted levels of enrollment. So even if students transfer out, new students would transfer in throughout the year. So we will see a fluctuation in that student population, which will directly impact budgeting as well.
Mr. Wallace, I think Mr. Ford's question was, what particular things are you doing to attract those students or reach those students, not necessarily attract them, but to reach them, because they are certainly the ones that need the most help from us.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm understanding your question, you're asking how we would reach those students who are special education students or those high-risk, those at-risk students?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. Okay. We would utilize the child find process that's been established to work with any stakeholders so that they can bring concerns to us. If there's a school that has a student that they think may benefit from our program, they could refer that student to us. We would actively reach out to the community. We may have parents that bring students in to enroll. So we would definitely have several vehicles that we would be using to reach out to those populations to bring those students into the program. They can need to be identified. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we would use a referral process where we would work closely with school counselors and school coordinators and teachers to identify that population of students that may benefit from a program such as Pathways in Education. And we would put a plan in place to make sure that we're able to work with them and meet the needs that they have as it relates to their educational or whatever behavior, whatever their need may be, to work with their growth.
And so to that end, have you made contact with Charlotte-Mecklenburg system to start the process or to investigate that process, or, the referral process? What contacts have you made with the LEA?
There has only been preliminary contact. We are looking at opening our school in 2 years. So we're looking at having an opportunity to begin those communications and that dialogue with the school system and with appropriate partners to be able to reach the population that we're seeking to benefit from our program.
So,
Ms. Reeves, I just want to interject here and share that we are 4 minutes over the Q&A time.
So I will then ask Mr. Wilkes, you're the board chair. Would you like to do the closing statement, or are you going to defer to Mr. Wallace?
Sorry, I'm getting used to this WebEx. I will defer that to Mr. Wallace.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wilkes. All right, Mr. Wallace, give us your closing statement.
Okay, so hopefully you're able to discern that we have passion and enthusiasm and heart for what we're looking to accomplish here by starting Pathways in Education in North Carolina. Although there may be some challenges that you may perceive, there are definitely things that we can overcome as we work towards opening our school. Our commitment would be first to that student and to the Charlotte community to be able to bring the population that we're seeking to serve and to grow a partnership with Charlotte-Mecklenburg and the community as we seek to open our school. Just to reiterate, Through our alternative education program, we'll offer students individualized additional support, attention, and resources that they'll need to succeed, regardless, again, wherever they are or whatever challenges they may face. We'd be partnering with the local school district to either prepare each individual student to return to the workforce or higher education. And we strongly believe in this PI model because it has proven to be successful in some of the other states that are already standing up. And we strongly believe that this PI model is one that will prove to be a benefit not only to the student population, but again to the community as a whole as we seek to grow and develop at-risk and underserved youth and prepare them for success in whatever path they choose to take, be it higher education or vocational. And we believe that there is an opportunity for Pathways in Education to have a tremendous impact on those at-risk and underserved youth as it relates to their educational and vocational success. And we look forward to partnering with the Charlotte Mecklenburg school system with this opportunity to provide the support that may be needed for the impact that we can make through this particular model. So again, today we thank you for considering our application and look forward to your decision.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. At this time, we'll turn back to the Charter School Advisory Board members for discussion.
Madam Chair, this is Heather Buncannon. I just wanted to weigh in here and comment about the education plan. I honestly, I was a little confused by it, but what I gathered, I think the most from it was that this was about credit recovery. If you look at the daily schedule, it was about credit recovery. And then there were some other things with dual enrollment that were highlighted but not fleshed out. So just in speaking about the ed plan, I think there is a lot left that needs to be corrected and thought through. And for me, this application is far from being ready and needs to go back to the drawing board.
Thank you, Heather. Yes, I too had questions with the ed plan with the fluctuating attendance and small group, these are students that need extra, and there was lots of gaps in the ed plan for me. Other members, please.
Yeah, this is Joel Ford, and I want to say that there obviously is a tremendous need in Mecklenburg County for such a model. I have to question, based upon what has been presented today, there are some gaps in the service delivery. There are some issues and concerns with the budget. So I just want to be clear, and I want to be on the record of being a supporter of educational choice and opportunities. However, I am extremely sensitive when it comes to organizations who want to serve this particular population. For decades, this group, our groups of students at this level who are economically disadvantaged with disabilities, individuals and organizations, including the Charlotte Mecklenburg school system, have made promises and they have failed this group of students. So I'm not calling you guys failures. I'm just saying to you, we know what doesn't work. And so I want to encourage you guys to continue to work at this, refine your ed plan and refine your budget. And I'd like to see you come back. But at this particular time, I can't support it.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
And Madam Chair, Hilda Prelay here. I do concur with my cohorts. There's much more work that needs to be done to the application. And it's not just about passion, but this is a business. And we have to always think of it as that in conjunction with what we want to offer our students. So regretfully, I won't be able to support this application either.
Thank you, Ms. Parlay.
Madam Chair, Rita Hare.
You're welcome.
I appreciate the comments of Joel Ford and agree. I read the support letter of Bill Russell, who supports this proposed school. He's now the founder of Back on the Block, and his story is a turnaround story, and I know that is what this group wants to affect for many young people in the area. So we want to see success, but I agree that the app in a number of ways, and particularly the budget, is not ready. There are major shifts in some funding from year to year in various line items that just aren't explained. But most importantly, if they did execute this note for 2.6 million, the first payback, the payment starts in year 3, and there would be payments in year 3, 4, and 5, and they're not in the budget at all. So that was concerning to me. That's $500,000 each year. So I didn't know if they planned for that, or if maybe I'm not understanding their payback plan, but there are just so many questions. We have to get them to continue to work on this until there's a program that will be successful and can be sustained. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hare.
This is Jeanette Butterworth, and I agree with my colleagues. This is a wonderful idea to address needs, but I think there's so many blanks left to be filled in that it's not at the point that I feel comfortable supporting it going forward. And Madam Chair, if you will, I'm happy to make a motion.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Butterworth.
I will make a motion that we do not move PI and C forward to the State Board of Education for ready to open.
Any other parlay seconds?
Okay, so we've been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none.
Just real quick, Joel Ford, right before we take this vote, again, I don't want the group to be discouraged, but actually encouraged that we all recognize the need for service and educational delivery. So as I put my vote in to support this motion, that does not mean that I do not support the idea. Just want to encourage you guys to go back and to do some refinement. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Joel. And I think we all would agree with that, Joel. We certainly know that there are many students that are not getting what they need. And as Mr. Quigley said, the traditional brick and mortar school, and we need strong programs to help those students. So we do encourage the board to continue working and improving and bringing us a viable plan. At this time, Ms. Becerra, will you please take the roll call?
Yes. Jeanette Butterworth?
Aye.
Joel Ford? Bruce Friend?
Aye.
Rita Hare?
Aye.
Lynn Kroger?
Aye.
Hilda Parlay?
Aye.
Alex Quigley?
Aye.
Sherry Reed?
Aye.
Heather Van
Aye.
Okay, it passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are ahead of schedule. Do we want to adjust the schedule at all? What is your thinking, Chair Quigley?
Okay, so we have Jordan Lake at 12:25. Dave, can we do our updates now?
Yeah, we sure can.
Okay, great.
That won't take us till 11:25 though, but that's probably good news.
We'll be happy to have some time back.
Okay. As far as the State Board of Ed update, they did approve your recommendation for Doral Charter's request to relocate, and they did approve your recommendation for the weighted lotteries for Alpha Academy, American Renaissance, Lincoln Charter, and Lakeside. They discussed the 2020 accelerated application recommendations. As you remember, that was for FAPE, Opening Stream, and SABA. And I want to again thank Chairman Quigley for being the lead on that discussion. An awful lot of questions, and he handled them very well as always. We also discussed Wake Prep's request for a second-year delay and the revocation of Essie Mae's charter. So those three items will be up for a vote at the January meeting. As far as OCS updates, we continue to have our office hours on Mondays for charter leaders, and they are very popular and successful. We continue to have our monthly charter leader calls with Dr. Emery and Dr. Stegall. We appreciate them taking the time to communicate to our charter school leaders. We had a meeting with charter leaders and DHHS last week to discuss COVID-19 antigen testing and our schools being possible testing sites. Very excited about that possibility. And as far as an NC Access update, as you remember, we started a program for aspiring minority school leaders. And I'm happy to say that our first cohort has 15 members, and they have all been accepted into Appalachian State, and they'll start their classwork in January. The third round of applications are underway right now. The letters of intent are due in January 15th. And the fifth fellow session will be this Thursday, and the focus on this session will be serving Hispanic and Latino students and families. Even though the fellows program has been remote, it has been very successful and still very engaging. And I just want to close by always thanking our OCS staff for the great work they do, particularly this past year under these unusual circumstances. And I want to wish CSAB members a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday. Thank you, Chairman Quigley.
Thank you, Dave. But happy holidays, but everybody, you got to come back after lunch. So, all right. I think we cannot we can't do anything else this morning because we have Jordan Lake scheduled for 12:25. Melanie, could they be ready at 12? I mean, will everybody be, and will the renewals be ready? Because I generally
I'll reach out to their board right now.
I think it'd be great if we could try to.
I'll reach out as well. Renewal schools were told to be on directly following lunch anyway.
Yeah, I remember you usually tell them to be there. So
At least 12:15, that would push us up a little bit.
yeah, let's do 12:15, Jordan Lake, and then just have the renewals ready.
Okay, that works.
Sounds good.
All right.